we're going to talk about The Mandalorian. Why are we talking about The Mandalorian? Well, because on Wednesday, no, not Wednesday, no, Wednesday, on Wednesday, yesterday, Season 3 of The Mandalorian premiered. And we're going to talk about it because The Mandalorian is a big fucking show. You can argue that The Mandalorian itself, the actual concept of the show, following this asshole and this kid, basically revitalized Star Wars. Season 1 was really good. Season 2 was excellent. But Season 3, well, it just started. And how was it? Well, I've watched it. I've watched the episode twice. And, well, I mean, it was pretty all right. It would be what you expect from, a first episode. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't very I'm going to turn this down a little bit more. There we go. It wasn't like big or grand, but it set a lot of shit up. And it's one of those situations where there's a lot to talk about, but then there also isn't a lot to talk about. Does that make sense? I have notes. I wrote notes for this. And I also have on my other monitor, because I'm not going to show it, I have the actual episode up, and we're going to skim through this. And I'm going to kind of recap it to you, and as I recap, I'm going to try to go in depth on some things that I noticed and all that sort of jazz, right? So, obviously, the episode begins with the Mandalorian. However, it is not our Mandalorian. What's happened? Why won't you go? There we go. I'm sorry, I was fucking with something on my other monitor. Anyways, so we start off seeing the armorer, who is the one lady who has more or less, what do you call it? Basically has been like this almost guiding force for the Mandalorian, for Din Djarin, for this guy. And last season, in Season 2, we learned that Din was a part of a specific set of Mandalorians. Now, he's not a real Mandalorian, technically speaking. He was an outcast, right? He was basically an orphan that got picked up by a rogue group of Mandalorians, and that rogue group is named Death Watch. Now, Death Watch, if you've watched the Clone Wars, you know what Death Watch is, but it's basically this, like, very, very, very fucking traditionalist sect of Mandalorian. So, the whole concept of they can't remove their helmet, this is the way, that comes from them. That comes from ancient Mandalore. And it's said in this opening scene, because the opening scene, we see the armorer, and the armorer, like, basically, like, forges this new helmet, and it's for this kid who has been basically inducted into what is the children of the Watch, right? Now, so from this, we can gather that still to this day, within the present day, long after Din Djarin has been inducted and basically almost like coerced and, what's the word, like assimilated, there we go, basically assimilated into this Mandalorian society, that they're still doing it to this day, especially to their young, which is kind of fucked up. But we basically see the kid get inducted, and then they get attacked by this big ass like crocodile thing, and it's like, oh shit, big ass battle ensues. A couple of them die, I'm pretty sure, and then Din Djarin, the homie himself, this guy right here, flying his fucking decked out, custom made mint silver edition of the Naboo starfighter comes in and he fucking wrecks everybody. Well, he wrecks the monster, saves everybody, then he lands and it's like, what up? It's him, the boy, the Mandalorian. Then we're immediately hit with what happened in the Book of Boba Fett. Now, the Book of Boba Fett, despite it being the Boba Fett show, it went over some of the shit with the Mandalorian. So, in that show, right, there was the whole plot of Grogu getting back with Din, but that doesn't really matter because the point of the matter is that during that show, despite it not being his show, we come to the realization and we see what happens that now that the Mandalorian, now that Din, at the end of Mandalorian Season 2, decided to take off his helmet and show Grogu his face. Well, because he did that, he broke the code of Mandalore, and he has been basically exiled. He has been outcast. He is the apostate. Now, apostate, for those who don't know, apostate means a person who renounces a religion or political belief or principle. So basically what they are implying by calling Din the apostate is they're basically saying, by removing your fucking helmet, you are renouncing our ways. That's how strict that shit is. It's not like, oh no, like, you forgive me, Father, I have sinned. Which is kind of what he tries to do, right? He goes in to this episode and he's like, look, yeah, I might have fucked up, but I still believe in this cause. And this is something very important to note, because if Din didn't give a fuck about the children of the Watch, he would not be trying to, get back into their good graces. Like, why the fuck would he care, But he still respects it, despite the fact that it's some weird, hokey religion and weird, fucked up shit that's not, well, it's technically true Mandalore, but not like true Mandalore as in like Bo-Katan and all that. But that's besides the point. Anyways, so he basically goes in and he's like, forgive me, armorer, I have sinned. And the armorer tells me, he's like, look, bitch, you removed your helmet. Alright, you removed it. People saw your face. You cannot be one of us anymore. However, you can atone for your sins. And you can do that in the mines of Mandalore. And then we get some more lore on Mandalore. Because Mandalore, as we know, sometime between episodes 3 and episodes 6, Mandalore basically got wiped the fuck out, right? It was basically reduced to ash. I'm going to assume, by what we know from Star Wars Rebels, that Bo-Katan tried to lead some sort of a revolution to free Mandalore from the Imperials, and then the Imperials were like, no, we're gonna glass your planet, because it is confirmed that Mandalore itself was completely glassed, and he shows the armorer this piece of glass from Mandalore's surface, and it has like this weird Mandalorian dais on its bottom, and he's like, look, I can go there and atone, because the whole idea is that, look, Mandalore's fucked up, it's uninhabitable, you literally can't even go there, it's poisoned, so don't even fucking try. You know what I mean? So he found this artifact off of some Jawas, and he went to the armor and he's like, look, this artifact, somebody went down to the surface after everything was fucking nuked and got the goddamn artifact. Obviously, you can go there. If you can go there, he can atone. You know what I mean? And then he can be a true Mandalorian again, to whatever true Mandalorian means to the children of the Watch. I just love the cold shoulder, the armor even. Yeah, I know. Here's the thing, like, those are still his people, right? Like, those are the ones who raised him. Those are the ones who basically gave him purpose in life. But he also kind of disrespected their ways. And I like the dynamic that, like, he's done it with fucking this kid right here. Where he was like, look, I'm a stone cold badass, but I give a shit. Despite the fact that they basically have fucked him over and told him to fuck off, he still respects his people. He still cares for them. Which is probably one of the reasons why he wants back in so bad. And so the armorer is like, okay, fine. Getting back to what I was saying, right? The armorer is like, okay, fine. Fuck it. If you want to go try and die, you go ahead and die. Don't matter. You're an apostate. Get out of here. So, Mandalorian leaves. And he's like, I'm going to prove to you that Mandalore is not fucked. I'm gonna do it. This is it. This is the hope we need. And then he leaves. Now, we get this, like, small little scene. And it is of Din and Grogu flying through hyperspace in the Mandalorian ship. The Mandalorian is sleeping soundly, and then you have little Grogu in his little cockpit, the thing right behind his head here, and he's looking out at hyperspace, right? Because hyperspace is its own fucking dimension. I've done a video on hyperspace. You can go watch it if you want, but he's like looking out at all this crazy shit, because hyperspace is cool to look at. Like, if you just sit there and watch it, it's probably really cool. Now, he sees in the hyperspace streams, as he's flying through all of this, Grogu sees Purrgil. Now, Purrgil are these whale creatures, and they can travel through hyperspace. They use, I'm pretty sure it was established, maybe it wasn't, maybe this is old lore, but I'm pretty sure, like, they used Purrgil to, like, chart hyperspace lanes and shit, since they were the ones, since Purrgil kind of already know, and so, like, scientists and people who navigate the stars were like, well, I'm gonna follow these guys and see where they take me, you know? And I'm pretty sure that's kind of where, like, hyperspace lanes kind of originated from. I could be wrong, but that's besides the point. Anyways, now, Purrgil, the thing about these space whales is that, spoilers for the end of Star Wars Rebels, but during the final confrontation between the crew of the Ghost and Thrawn and his Imperials, Ezra basically summons these Purrgil to help fight the Imperials, because these fucking things, like, these space whales are fucking big. They're really big. Like, they're fucking massive ass whales. Like, imagine like a beluga whale. I'm pretty sure that's, like, the biggest whale in our size, right? But, like, instead of, like, it being, like, a comparison of, like, us to a beluga, it's a fucking spaceship to like a Purrgil. Like, that's how fucking big they are, side to side. You know, they're pretty big. So they call in, they fuck up the Imperial fleet, and at the last second, they go into hyperspace with the ship. It's been a long time since I've watched Rebels. I'm pretty sure something was going to happen, so they had to get out of there very quick. And so they took Thrawn's Star Destroyer, which had Ezra and Thrawn on board, and they basically shot into hyperspace. Here are the Purrgil. By the way, here is the scene from the Mandalorian. As you can see, the little ship compared to the whale right here, the outline. It is these things. Which, look, why am I bringing this up so much? Look, bro, we're supposed to be getting a show that is all about Ezra Bridger. Well, finding Ezra Bridger, right? Like, I'm just saying, bro, like, they wouldn't be showing Purrgil if they weren't gonna somehow be relevant in the near future. You know what I mean? Anyways, going back to the Mandalorian, so he goes through this thing. Grogu gets really scared of the whales, and so he goes down and he hugs his dad. And basically, this scene is like basically what what occurs. He basically comes up, tucks himself under his arm, and hides, and is scared. Then we go forward a little bit, and we return to Navarro, which is the fucking goddamn western town that was in season 1 and season 2, and over the course of season 1 and 2, it's been saved from the Imperial remnants. They basically drove out all the outlaws, and now it's its own independent trade anchor in the actual Outer Rim. Like, this place is fucking ballin'. It is a dope ass place. Everybody wants to be here. And he goes here, the Mandalorian goes here, and requests from I don't remember his name. I'm gonna call him the High Minister. Let me see if I can find his name. Karga. There we go. His name is Karga. So he goes to see Karga, and he's like, "Look, I need IG-11, which was the droid from season 1, and I need his help to go and try to scout out Mandalore." Why does he need his help? Well, because he's a fucking robot. He's the only robot that the Mandalorian trusts, right? So he's like, okay, I need him back online, because they made a statue out of him, because he was basically the one that blew up all the Imperials. And he's like, I need him back. And then, like, he's like, look, well, he's kind of broke. And then so they take him to these little ass tinkers, and they're like, hey, he's fucking broke. Bring me this part. And, like, so the Mandalorian's like, all right, well, look, if I get you this part, you can then fix my droid, which then I can then take the droid and go to Mandalore to scout out Mandalore. And that's all fine and dandy. However, as they're kind of doing this, right, as they're in the process of all this stuff, we see a band of outlaws, and these outlaws are basically like old friends of Karga's. They used to hang out on Navarro a whole bunch, and they are allied with a pirate king. They are with, what is his name? I wrote his name down here somewhere. I think I did. Never mind, I don't think I did, but it's basically some asshole pirate king that I can't remember the name. Captain Gorian Shard, I just thought of it right now. So Captain Gorian Shard, these are his men, and they come up and they're like, hey yo, where the fuck's the bar? And then Magistrate Karga walks up and he's like, bro, that's a school now. Which, by the way, that is the most Western fucking thing I think I've ever heard of in my life. If you've ever watched a Western, there is always a story about a small town that basically, like, goes on the up, and then they make some shady, shitty bar the school. And always, it's the fucking school that everybody has a problem with. Anyways. So, they basically tell the pirates to fuck off. Pirates don't fuck off. They kill some of the pirates. One gets away, but they kind of let him get away so that they can tell others that Navarro is no longer accepting of their kind. And then the Mandalorian goes on his way to go find the part for IG-11, because IG-11's all fucked up. He reverted to his old programming. It's bad times all around. But as he leaves, he is attacked by Gorian Shard and his pirates. The Mandalorian escapes. He does kill a couple more pirates, but the fact that they are putting such an emphasis on these pirates, I mean, it really makes you think that, like, they're probably gonna play like a bigger role. You know what I mean? Like, because they are fucking like pirates, and I figure what's probably going to happen is that, excuse me, over the course of this season, I just choked. Sorry. Anyways, so over the course of this season, we're going to see Gorian Shard pop up a whole bunch. And by the end of it, there's probably going to be some big-ass fucking shootout in Navarro. And then the Mandalorian, who is either going to find redemption or not or whatever, he's going to become the Marshal of Navarro. Because the old Marshal, Cara Dune, she is now working for New Republic Special Services. And so there's there's basically no lawman in Navarro, so pirates can kind of just come and go and they can't really stop them. And Karga's told Din, he's like, hey, you want to be the Marshal? And he's like, can't, I got a quest to do, you know, to go and be redeemed or whatever. But the fact that they're bringing it up now, it's either going to be, at the end of this season, he's going to become the Marshal of Navarro, or maybe later down the line, a couple seasons from now, maybe series finale, it's like, all right, you know what? I'm finally going to retire. He's going to go back to fucking Navarro, and he's going to become the Marshal. And he's going to do it not wearing his helmet. And that'll be a crazy time. Anyways, so he basically escapes the pirates. And then we flash forward to a scene, and he goes to one of the moons in the Mandalore system. I don't remember the name of the moon. If I'm remembering correctly, it starts with like a K. But essentially, what's going on is that as they're going place to place, Din is basically teaching Grogu all sorts of different stuff. He's basically teaching Grogu how to be a Mandalorian, which is pretty crazy. Which he's like, alright, in order to be a Mandalorian, you gotta chart the stars and stuff. This is how you do it. And this is this planet. And then they fly down to this planet, and it has this big-ass Mandalorian castle. And they walk inside, and guess who the fuck it is? It is her herself. Where's the picture? There. It is her herself, Miss Bo-Katan Kryze, who is the sister of the last Duchess of Mandalore, who was the one who, for all this since fucking the Clone Wars, has been chasing after the Darksaber. And as soon as she finds the Darksaber, Din fights Gideon at the end of season 2 and takes the fucking Darksaber for himself, which he didn't know he did. He just kind of beat him in a duel and took it. And then she's like, well, fuck, you just literally, I'm here for this, and you took the whole fucking reason I'm here. And then because she didn't get the goddamn Darksaber, all of her followers and stuff who actually do want to go and reclaim Mandalore and stuff like that, they're like, look, bitch, you don't have the Darksaber. You ain't it. You suck. You're trash. You're a dog at this game. Leave. But then they all left. So they left her ass, and she's kind of jaded to the whole situation. She's become really disillusioned with reclaiming Mandalore, because Din shows up here, and he shows up because he's like, hey, like, I want to, like, join you. Like, I want to be a part of your stuff. Let me be a part of what you're doing here. I want to go and help reclaim Mandalore, because he has found proof that you can go to Mandalore. He's got to go to Mandalore anyways to redeem himself in the eyes of his people. So, like, fuck it. Why not? The option was there before, and he's going to take up on it now. Well, now it doesn't fucking matter. Now, all of Bo-Katan's followers are gone. They don't want anything to do with her anymore. And they told her, fuck off. It's fucked. No more. And that's it. And so Din leaves. However, he does leave Bo-Katan with some information, because the mines of Mandalore are under the capital city of Sundari. I think the name is, or Sundari. I'm sorry. Sundari. And Sundari, as I'm pretty sure, that is the big ass center that we've seen display or seen shown in the Clone Wars, which I hope there's some stuff about the Clone Wars kind of connecting it together, because that would be really cool. But anyways, that is where this episode ends. The Mandalorian leaves Bo-Katan. He don't have shit. He don't have the droid. He don't have his people, and he don't even have Bo-Katan. He's got nobody but this little man in his lap. But he's still going, and he's gonna go to the ruins of Mandalore, and he's gonna prove that it's okay. And then probably eventually, what's gonna end up happening is that he's gonna use the Darksaber to basically unite all of Mandalore. What I figure what's probably gonna happen is that he's gonna find proof that the mines of Mandalore exist, and that Mandalore's okay, and that it can go get resettled. And then he's gonna go back to the children of the Watch, and he's gonna be like, look, it's proof I've bathed in the waters beneath the mines of Mandalore. I am redeemed. And then they're gonna be like, no, you're not. Fuck off. Go away. Something's gonna happen. Then he's gonna pull out the Darksaber, and all these other like old school Mandalorians, they're gonna be like, shit, fuck, bro, that's the Darksaber. Because the Darksaber, right? If you don't know, the whole premise behind the Darksaber is that it's basically like King Arthur, where if you can pull the sword from the stone, you can rule Britain. Well, whoever the fuck wields the Darksaber rules Mandalore. Din Djarin has the fucking Darksaber. He is the technical, as it stands, rightful ruler of Mandalore. And if the children of the Watch are really like these old school, they have these really hardcore, borderline fanatic beliefs about what makes a Mandalorian, chances are that they're gonna see that fucking thing, and the whole ass tribe's gonna be like, oh no, we ride or die with Din Djarin. He's the real one. He can show us the way. You fucking watch, it's gonna happen. And then they're gonna get all these different people from the Children of the Watch. Then they're gonna get the followers of Bo-Katan. Then they're gonna reunite. They're gonna reclaim Mandalore. It's gonna be a good time. Except it won't, because then Grogu will end up realizing that, you know, the Mandalorians are the ancient enemy of the Jedi. So technically, because Grogu's a Jedi, he can't. His dad's his worst enemy. And then Grogu's gonna leave and go back to Luke. That's my theory. I've talked about that before. But yeah, that is The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 1. It was pretty good. But then again, like, it's only Episode 1, so like things could get better or it could get worse. We don't know yet. Either way, I think it's a good start. I think it's on par with the start of like or Season 2, and not as crazy as Season 1, right? Because Season 1 was just fucking phenomenal. But for the first episode, it's on par with Season 2. So if you like Season 2, you probably like this. But, you know, it's only one episode.